Hey everyone, Humphrey here, back with another RouterGods video. Yes, I'm back in another Burger King in Thailand, but we're not doing a mukbang food video. In the tech world, it's a very small world. And several years ago, I was working as a network engineer at a, let's say, medium-sized company in Southern California. And I was working on some SolarWinds stuff. So we had a change window coming up. And with SolarWinds, you have to play around with the alarms so that during the change window, when stuff gets unplugged and disconnected, you don't have your emails getting blown up by the SolarWinds alarm. So you have to do a little preparation. 3 of my coworkers were conducting an interview of a prospective network engineer, so bringing someone else on the team. And they're doing that a couple rooms over. Now this person comes in, resume looked pretty good, the interview was going fairly well. And I'm not part of the interview because I'm just a peon network engineer. We always like to ask about hobbies and groups that you've joined. You know, is there anything else that would make you a good candidate for this position? And I always recommend to people join groups. You know, join meetup groups, join groups like, you know, hopefully join RouterGods, but you know, you don't necessarily have to, but join groups because it gets you to meet people, it gets you out of the house, it gets you in social situations, it gets you working in a group. There's lots of good things that happen when you join professional groups like Meetup. So this guy, the candidate, says, yeah, I'm part of RouterGods. Now, the 3 people that are interviewing the guy, they all know that I run RouterGods. And they could have easily said, oh wait, well, we have the founder of RouterGods right here. Let's bring him in. One of the people that was doing the interviewing was the security guy. So he thinks a little bit differently. He's like, oh, okay. Well, you know, you two continue on with the interview. Let me step outside for a bit. So he walks outside, goes straight to my cubicle, and says, hey, Humphrey, do you know a so-and-so? When you run an organization and someone mentions a name to you and it doesn't ring a bell, generally what that means is that person's not that important, is not that active. You know, it should make sense. Now at the time, so just to set this up, RouterGods, most of you know that RouterGods is a YouTube channel, but RouterGods is also a 5,200 plus member meetup group, along with a 1,300 people in our Discord channel. So back then, we didn't have 5,000 members. We were approximately 1,000 members. So if a name is mentioned to me and I don't recognize it right away, and I had to think about the name, it's like, do I know this name? Didn't ring a bell. Now this person is in the interview saying that he's a member of RouterGods, and he said that I'm pretty high up. I help organize events. I'm you know, very important to the group. I'm the essential part of RouterGods. So that kind of piqued the interest of the security guy. So security guy came over, told me, and it's like, huh, doesn't ring a bell. Now, when you run a meetup group, you have access to, obviously you have access to the meetup admin pages. So you could look in the directory of members, and you could do searches and all that good stuff. Also at the time, we had a Slack channel. So we've gone from an email list for communication to Slack to River, and now we're on Discord. So we've gone through multiple changes. So back then we were on Slack, and we didn't have that many people, maybe 100 or so, a couple hundred. So did a couple searches there, did not find the name at all. So it's like, that's really strange. I did the obvious thing. I said, hey, can I join in on the interview? You need 4 people on there? It's like, sure, because I think the wheels were turning in the security guy's head. It's like, this guy's freaking lying to us. He is straight up lying. Walk over, back into the room, and the security guy introduces me. This is Humphrey, which should have rang a bell if you're in RouterGods. This is Humphrey. He's a network engineer for us. He'll be helping us with some of the technical questions, and shake his hand, and I sit down. And so the security guy says, hey, so you were, sorry for stepping out, just had to grab Humphrey. And you were mentioning that you belong to a group. Tell us more. Well, it's RouterGods, a network engineering group. It's, it meets, back then we were meeting at cafes like Panera Bread and Starbucks quite often. Now we don't do that, especially since COVID. But yeah, and also now we're international, so it doesn't make sense. So he starts explaining, and then he starts saying that he helps organize events and it's pretty high up, kind of the same stuff he talked about before. I was like, okay. So, RouterGods, it's quite a large group, right? Yeah. Oh, well, who runs RouterGods? It's like this guy, Humphrey. I was like, yeah. And it took a couple of seconds. You would think that you would think he'd recognize that right away, but it took a couple seconds, and then he kind of looked. He's like, "You're Humphrey." I was like, "Yeah, I'm Humphrey." Like, so now it was kind of like my turn to shine. Like, well, just to let you know, I run RouterGods. I've run it since the start. I don't recognize your name. I did a couple searches. You're in our group. So he was in our group. That part's true. He was in our group. But never attended any meetings, wasn't busy. I don't think he ever sent an email on our emailing list. Basically, he was a member, but other than that, nothing. Absolutely nothing. So yeah, the interview continued on, and obviously he didn't get the job, but yeah, guys, be careful in tech. Tech is a very, very small world, and never ever lie in your interviews because you never know. And this goes for what groups you belong to, what certifications you have. Never lie about your education. Never lie about your experience. All that, saying that you have positions that you didn't have, or you manage people, because in the tech world, people float around to different tech groups. And the person that you're talking to may have just worked at another place or knows a person that has worked. And we'll email each other, we'll get on Zoom, we'll call, we have WhatsApp, we have chat programs. Yeah, we can find out pretty easily. So the takeaway from this is tech is a very small world. Never lie on your interviews. And for God's sakes, if you're gonna say that you do very important stuff for a meetup group, you probably should recognize the names of the people in that group and recognize who runs that group. Okay, Humphrey with RouterGods. Take care, stay safe. Of course, if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.